everybody. Welcome to the Happen Twice podcast. Today I will be talking with the singer-songwriter hailing from the great city of Detroit, Michigan, Mark Whalen. I have been a huge fan of his for the past few years, and he is just such a down-to-earth guy. We had some great conversations, talked about his music, talked about his life. So yeah, listen to some of his tunes. You'll hear quite a few of them throughout the show, and enjoy. Thank you.
Mark Whalen. I'm 21 years old. I grew up in Michigan, and I currently live in the great city of Detroit, Michigan.
So when did you start doing music? Has that always been a thing?
Yeah. So I grew up in kind of a musical household. Both of my parents, are musicians. So I started playing music and really fell in love with it at an early age. I started to get more serious into it in terms of like writing music and like writing my own stuff. I'd say probably around high school. My freshman year of high school is when I really started to write my own stuff and get more into it.
Cool. So did you start off playing the guitar? Was that
the first instrument I learned how to play was the bass, and that was I played in orchestra, and kind of what I put on. And then I kind of transitioned. It transitions nicely to guitar, and pick up a little bit over in there.
Yeah, cool. So tell me about what was it like growing up in Detroit? Were you suburbs or more to the city? I've never been there before. I've kind of I know a little bit about it. I know there's a really cool underground indie grunge kind of scene. So, but besides that, just what was it like growing up there personally for you?
So I didn't grow up in the city of Detroit.
Okay.
I was in the burbs, and it was really good. I lived in a quiet, kind of place, and there wasn't a huge music scene. There were bands and stuff. What was it called? Shane Park in Birmingham. Every year would have a battle of the bands, and go. But there wasn't a huge music scene, and as I had some friends. We kind of wanted to start a band and stuff like that. We all ended up going to, or most of us went to Wayne State University, which is where I go now. I'm in the last year. Which is in Detroit, and we were, that was kind of my first, time being around a music scene and having,
being with your friends, when you guys are starting up a band kind of.
Yeah, being able to play at a bunch of different clubs and bars, and
Are you referring to Buttermilk Boys, the squad?
Yeah.
Okay. So are those your boys from high school or what?
Yeah, so out of the 6 of us, 5 of them went to, or 5 of us went to
Wayne State
school together, and our drummer Ben, we met at Wayne State.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And so did y'all graduate? Are y'all 2017 high school grads or?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I am as well, so cool. So you kind of talked a little bit about you grew up in a musical household, so one of my questions was, has your family been supportive of your music endeavors and all that? So it sounds like definitely that's part of your culture kind of.
Yeah, I would say so. They're kind of old school. They're both really phenomenal musicians, but they're not. They never went the professional route.
Yeah.
So My mom is a school teacher, and my dad works for as a judge. And
Okay.
you know, so they went. They're still great musicians, and they're super supportive, you know. But you know, they're kind of old school in the sense of, you know, not totally understanding, like, you know, how artistry works now and like how it works.
Yeah,
like
it's evolving so quickly.
yeah, you know, like I'm making decent money and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're like, how? Like, you know, they don't get it. You know, they think it's performing live and doing stuff, but no, they are great parents and
Cool.
peers.
Nice. So tell me a little bit more about the Butter Boys. Are you guys still together? Like, do you guys make the music together, or is it you composing the music, and y'all just play the shows together, or what?
Yeah. So yeah, we're like I said, we're all like best friends. I live with 3 other of the Buttermilk Boys. Like I said, you know, we've been homies since like some of even, you know, middle school.
Dude, that's so lit. I feel like that's like rare, honestly. That's so cool.
I'm really blessed. I'm really lucky to have this really solid group of friends that I've known, you know, since I was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
So like, how the group kind of works is, you know, everyone is really, really talented in their own ways. So like, the lead guitar player in my band, Colin, he's a phenomenal guitar player, and he does sessions for a lot of other artists and other bands. And he also writes his solo music the same way, you know, I write my solo music. And, you know, the keyboard player, Malcolm, you know, he's a rapper, and he puts out his own music, and, you know, does his own thing. And so how it kind of works is I write my own music, and I put it out on my own. I usually record most of, if not all of the parts. Sometimes one or the other will come in to do like a guitar part that I wrote out that, you know, I can't play, or, you know, this and that, or, you know, help out with background vocals and stuff like that. But for the majority of the part, I write and record it, and they come and play live, which I've been super blessed to have, because, you know, like I said, they're my homeboys, and
Yeah.
you know, they're also great musicians, so they fill in for me when we play live, and, you know, we love it, and, you know, they also got their own stuff going on.
Nice. So yeah, so y'all are like kind of together, but y'all don't like release any music under a group, at least at this point, but y'all play together, and kind of everyone individually has their own kind of endeavors going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're also, so, you know, everyone works, and everyone like is going to school, so it's kind of hard to do like a lot of stuff as a group, you know.
For sure. Yeah, no, I'm working full time and going to school full time right now, so it's
God bless you.
It's a grind, man. It is a grind. Like, I literally have had no social life since this semester started. Like,
yeah.
So I did a little bit of research beforehand, read a couple articles, but you're a music technology major, correct?
You did your research well.
Yeah. I looked up Mark Whalen, Wayne State.
That's pretty good.
So, like, what's that? What exactly is that major?
So it's like audio production.
Okay.
So I picked Wayne State because at the time when I was applying for colleges, I kind of, you know, I always had like a really fond interest of music and stuff, and I didn't really know what I wanted to go into, but I really, really loved like the recording process. Like when I was in high school, I just had an interface and some really shitty like desktop monitors, and I just loved the idea of like recording stuff and getting like the best sound. So at the time, there were only 3 colleges that had like a audio production degree that was a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And U of M, which I got denied.
University, dude. That school I heard is really. I met some people from that school that like apparently it's like insanely hard to get into.
It is. Yeah. Like where I, this is kind of like a side tangent, but where I grew up in like a, you know, a very, you know, good place.
Yeah.
Which had a I grew up in Southfield, Birmingham area, and they have really really good public education, and like where I went to high school, which was Seaholm, it's kind of like either you went to Michigan State or you went to U of M. Like that was like those were either going to one of them. But I really wanted to go into audio production, and at the time, it was U of M, Western Michigan, and Wayne State. And like I said, didn't get into U of M. Western was like 3 hours away and didn't really seem like a good fit. And Wayne State just seemed like the right spot to go. There's a very thriving art culture, and just like a lot of cool stuff going on, not too far away from home. And
is it like downtown Detroit or like outskirts?
So it's in like midtown Detroit, so it's like 2 or 3 miles north of downtown, but it's in like the midtown area, which is kind of like the hip area, a lot of
hip area, like
a lot of hip bars, a lot of all that stuff going on. And it's really great because I've learned a hell of a lot, not just about like recording stuff, but they have a really extensive breadth of stuff that they cover, when it
in terms of like class and stuff that you're learning, or in terms of like the resources that they offer, like studio and equipment and all that stuff.
Honestly, both. Like I said, like they do everything from like sound designing, like understanding like synthesis and building synthesizers, to electrical engineering side of things, which is kind of the heavy stuff that I'm taking right now, which is it's kind of like nauseating sometimes to look at a bunch of schematics and learn how all that works, but it's really really helpful because you know how to do that stuff. And they also have a really phenomenal studio that I have access to, that like never in a million years am I gonna have the money to like own that stuff,
Well, but
well, I guess you're right, but like like the mixing console is like over
crazy equipment stuff.
They have microphones that are $10,000 each. Like just stuff that like is so phenomenal to be able to use and like learn. So it's a great program, and I'm really happy that I ended up here.
That's good, man. So like, how do you make your money off music mostly? Is it through Spotify or SoundCloud or?
Yeah, so most of it now, because when we were playing live shows, we would make money from that, and we split it up evenly, and there was a point where we were playing live pretty regularly, making not great but decent money, but now because of COVID, that's off the table. So right now, I'm making a little bit of money, with streaming services and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's not great, but it's okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a common thing that you read and like hear about, is that Spotify and like the streaming services, they're not set up for the artists, really. Yeah.
Not in the long run. Definitely not. No. Things are getting better.
The good thing about streaming services is that it does give a lot more people a chance to discover you and stuff. So it's like,
absolutely,
there's pros and cons. I think I discovered you through, I think it was like some Spotify curated playlist. I heard Happen Twice on it. It was like indie rock, like new indie rock or like something like that. And like,
all right.
Shuffled it and heard it. So do you know how most people discover you, or like do you get like analytics from Spotify and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you use that stuff or take it seriously, or?
Yeah, I guess yes and no. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I gotta say, I'm extremely lucky that I was given like a platform to, through like Spotify and other places. I mean, I worked really hard on like putting music out and putting it out there and trying to get it out and stuff. But nowadays I really don't pay super close attention to the analytics and stuff. I don't do a lot of like marketing stuff. Like I'm not on social media a lot.
Yeah, you can see on your Instagram, like you're not really pushing your music or anything really like that. It's kind of like just
yeah. I mean, I was never super like into that stuff. Like I always felt kind of weird about it. But not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I think you should.
Yeah, it's
you should be putting stuff out there, like be like, fuck yeah, like listen to my music. You should totally do that.
Yeah.
I was never like. I was always like super like shy about everything and like always felt weird like putting myself out there. I did for a long time. That's not to say that I just put it on there and was like, okay. No, I sent out thousands of emails, when I started, like, please, if you want to add this to your playlist, or please like check out my music and stuff like that. I still do that. That's like my main way of like trying to, I mean, I haven't put out music in a while, but just emailing people, talking to people, see if they fuck with it or want to do something with it.
For sure.
Feeling out of touch, feeling out of line, but I'm all dressed up.
So have you been approached by any like labels, or are you signed with anybody or anything like that? Like, what's your experience been with that?
So no, I'm not signed. I'm completely independent as of right now. I would be open to like look into getting signed or something like that, but I'm also like a little bit hyper like protective of like rights and stuff.
For sure.
Like I don't think, unless it was like a sick deal, it would have to be like a really sick deal for me to like hand over any sort of like master's rights.
For sure.
Just like
that's a big thing to do. That's a huge thing to do.
Yeah, and like those are that's kind of like the standard if you sign to like a Capitol Records or like a Sony. They're kind of expecting like, hey, we own the masters for like your lifetime. Which is like
they can like
a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. Like, if a record company like came to you and was like, hey, we'll give you like $5 million right this very second, like we'll wire it to your account. But like, you have to put out like 3 records with us and we're going to own the masters and you're not going to make a fucking penny until we get that money back. And then once we get that money back, you're not going to get that much.
Yeah. It's
kind of like you hear the $5 million before you hear the rest of that stuff, like,
for sure.
And it's hard not to like. So I've been in talks with no one big, no one like no Capitol Records, no Republic, none of that. But I have been in talks with a couple different people, like just kind of, and they've all been really great. They've all been like super nice and like there for the right reasons. Just kind of saying like, hey, we really like your music, and we want to. If you're interested, here's kind of what we offer. Here are some of our deals, and here's what we would do. And they were cool, and from a couple different places. I kind of thought about it. I'm still thinking about it, kind of like weighing it over. But as it stands right now, no, I'm 100% independent.
What kind of like draws you to make music?
Just like I love the feeling of like playing some chords and like composing and writing and like waking up the next morning and listening back to it and being like, man, this sounds pretty dope. Like that gives me such a great feeling of like creating something. Like just being able to like hold something and be like, damn, I made this.
For sure.
And like I couldn't really do that with a lot of other stuff. Like I'm terrible at drawing and like or writing. Like I was really, my skills in that field were very poor, and music just kind of like came naturally, and it was just a great hobby, and it still is a great hobby. I mean, like it's turning much more into a profession now, and it's definitely something I want to make a profession, whatever it is that I'm doing. You know, my goal isn't really like to like one day like be like famous or be like a big artist. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it'd be really cool, but that's not like my end all goal. Whatever it is that I end up doing, I'm still gonna be writing music until I'm an old man.
That's your craft.
Yeah, it's fun, and like I said, I'm very lucky and I'm very privileged to be making money from it. But yeah, I would be doing the same thing and working just as hard if I wasn't making money.
This probably is like the song that, oh, you're Mark Whalen, you're the guy who made Things You Do.
Yeah.
This is probably the song that, like maybe was your first big song where people started catching on with the Things You Do to me. So tell me about that song, like what was that like with that picking up some steam and stuff? And that was released in 2016, right?
I actually messed it up. I messed up the date when I entered it on Spotify, and I can't change it.
Oh, okay.
It was 17.
Okay.
But I don't know why
I change it. That's so weird.
Fuck, I don't know. I think I might have to take it down to change it and then put it back up. And I think I'm just like too lazy and like it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, so the Things You Do, I wrote it in high school, and at that time, I was super into like the shit that was coming out, which was like obviously like Mac DeMarco was like
Love Mac, of course,
like super big when I was in high school.
Yeah, he's the guy for sure.
Like shit like Home Shake and God, what
did you know Home Shake was Mac DeMarco's old guitarist in his band? That's really cool. Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, just like kind of like the generic like indie like bubble, all that stuff.
Mile High Club, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Like, I just love that, and especially as like a high schooler who like had super limited equipment, I think like the whole like bedroom pop like indie aesthetic of like, hey, you could record this in your bedroom with a couple mics.
Just put a sick guitar.
Yeah, I think that stuff was like super appealing to me, and like I'm kind of out of phase with it now. I don't really listen to as much like that whole bedroom pop scene much anymore. But like as a high schooler, like that kind of image of like, hey, you can do this, like totally like really appealed to me.
Yeah.
And I did. I recorded that song in my basement.
Nice. Dude, that guitar is sick in that song. I'm sure you've heard that so many times, but it rips. It's dope.
Dude. And like, like you said, I think that's super cool that you said that. I recorded that whole song with one microphone.
Wow. No, with one microphone? Are you serious?
Yeah.
How'd you do the drums?
They were programmed.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
A lot of people always look down on that and whatever.
No, that's sick.
There's no way I could have recorded a drum kit if I wanted to. Like I said, like that was kind of like my first like run or my first go at like writing music for myself, I guess. And like like I said, it changes over time, but like I was a kid, and you write about what. What's relevant to you, and I was a high school kid going through high school problems.
Yeah, no, the vibe I kind of got on like that first on what's Someone to Be. It's like I get that like kind of like that bedroom pop, like kind of romantic, maybe a little heartbreak in there for sure.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a high school kid writing about
for sure
kind of high school problems, you know. And
did you get your heart broken or what?
No. Looking back at it now, no. I've been with the same girl since high school.
Oh, okay, nice.
It was just kind of like, you know, you write about what's relevant to you at the time. And
what you just tell stories, man.
Yeah,
sure.
And I think I've definitely gotten out of that a little bit. Like, as I've kind of progressed as a songwriter, I've really kind of valued, like, definitely, I think, and there's no right or wrong answer, but I think me personally, I've kind of like gotten more into like higher fidelity of recording. Like, I've kind of valued that. Like, the more I listen to, you know, bands like Steely Dan, or like I've been listening to Patrice Rushen a lot. Both have like really, really phenomenal like production behind them.
Yeah.
And I found that like super interesting and like really, really cool to listen to. And like I said, there's no right or wrong.
For sure.
But I think I've definitely found myself trying to become better at recording and getting a better recording sound. And also like the composition behind it, trying to write stuff that is a bit more, I don't want to say complex, because, you know, I'm not writing anything that's like, you know, crazy. But, you know, like trying to kind of refine and, you know, better my songwriting capabilities and make stuff that's a bit more, it's got a bit more meat to it. You know?
Yeah. Takes a little bit more energy.
Yeah, a little bit more energy, a little bit, you know, a little bit more interesting, I guess I would just say.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I said, I feel like some people, you know, kind of, I think everybody kind of looks back at their past work and they might cringe a little bit, you know? It's kind of like the same as like hearing your voice over like a recording.
Yeah, or seeing a picture of you like 6 years ago.
Exactly. You're like, oh man. Like,
you're like, what? I looked like that?
Damn, I had that haircut. Like, that's legit like what I look like.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to have some long, like, I feel like every picture I've seen of you, you have like long hair.
I cut my hair in quarantine. It's a mess for me.
Nice.
I have not sure.
Are you growing a mustache or?
No. Not gonna happen. But, you know, you kind of, people kind of, I think everybody looks back at their work and cringes a little bit. But, you know, it's good to kind of look back and look where you were at. And I was like, damn, you know, I wasn't that good of a guitar player, wasn't that good of a singer. And be like, I'm still proud that, you know, I made this work and I at least did this at this stage in my career. Because, you know, you have your entire life to make whatever you want. So it's cool to look back and be like, you know, for the time I did this and I am proud of this.
The guy that came to me, knocking at my door, trying to sell me down some shit I can't afford. Tell me why do I do these things?
So, like, when you made Morning Glory, that seems more, just compared to Someone to Be, it's like more groovy for sure.
Yeah.
I'd say. Would you agree with that? Like, or is it just kind of like a natural, like what you were feeling in the time, just kind of groovy feels?
Yeah, it was like, you know, I guess it was just kind of like, you know, at the time I was listening to like a ton of like funk music, both like old and new. I'm like a lifelong Daft Punk fan. Both like their techno stuff when I was like a kid.
Nice. And
to like, you know, some of their later stuff in like Random Access Memories. Like, that still is like top 3 even, like albums of all time for me. Like, I just really fell in love with that record. So, you know, I was listening to them and like George Benson and like Stevie Wonder and like I said, Patrice Rushen and like Just like I really love the idea of like making music that was like the shit that you could dance to. Like I'm still am a huge fan of disco. I love the genre, and I love how you can make something that's like interesting and like something that you can dance to, but you can also incorporate like really interesting like rhythms and syncopations. And
I feel like that's
like
what like Happen Twice is.
Yeah.
I feel like Happen Twice does that.
Yeah. Like,
for sure.
I don't want to go out there and say like I did anything like super like crazy or interesting on Morning Glory, because it was like just kind of like a it was still kind of like indie rock, and kind of like I was still kind of like learning. I mean, everyone's always kind of learning where they're at and stuff like that, but I wanted to make some stuff that was more dance oriented, more like more synth related stuff. That's when I also wanted to kind of branch out of just like bass, guitar, drums, and vocals. Like I kind of wanted to.
Where'd y'all record Morning Glory, or where did you record it?
Mostly in my room. But
back at home or here or in Detroit?
So at the time of Morning Glory, I was living in a dorm room at Wayne State.
Okay.
I recorded most of the stuff there, but for like drums and some vocals, we had like a rehearsal. Me and my friends had like a rehearsal space.
Okay.
That recorded some stuff in, but
nice.
it was a mix of like rehearsal space and dorm room.
Nice.
I'm working on an album right now.
Was Morning Glory an album, or like an official album, or was it like a mixtape? Or, I mean, I don't like those definitions. They get so like.
It was 8 songs, so I think technically you can define it as an album. Okay. It was kind of short, and it also like, I just talked about like looking back and kind of cringing at your work.
Yeah.
Definitely like it. It was really rushed, and like definitely not. I don't know. It was kind of rushed, and it was kind of short. Right now I'm working on another project that has gotten pushed back time and time again because of like COVID and like personal things. So I'm not totally sure when it's going to come out. I'm like decently like through most of it.
What's like the vibe of it? Is it pretty like guitar heavy, like dance? Like, how would you describe it?
I would say it's a good blend of a lot of stuff. I feel like it's kind of a generic answer, but
you're trying to kind of like show off some range and stuff like that, or like.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one has like, it's definitely like has. I would say it's definitely the best arranged stuff that I've done. I write a lot of different music, and I've been writing like a lot of different music for a lot of different purposes. And but this is the first time I'm kind of putting stuff under like the Mark Whalen name.
Yeah. That
had like some some like really like thought out like string arrangements or horn arrangements, or it's kind of like the widest field stuff that I've done, which is feels really good. And I've also had. This is the first project that I've ever put out that I've given myself like, hey, like there's no deadline. Like with Morning Glory, there was kind of a deadline.
You're not like just trying to like push out content or anything like that.
I'm not trying to put anything out. And so I've had all the time in the world to work on it. So I think I'm going to be very, very excited when it comes out, and I'm going to be really excited for everyone to hear it.
Sweet, man. Yeah, I'm definitely. Me and my friends here. My friends all listen to you as well here. So
that means a lot.
We're definitely excited. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Here you go. Thank you. Hey, are you Mark Whalen? Yes, I am.
Shit, you made that song, right? The things you do?
Yeah, that's me.
Super fucking vibey, dude. I love it. I don't know if you know this, but the word around town is that you can't grow a mustache. Is that true?
Well, I don't know if that's true.
Hold on, let me get my boss. Hey, Vinny!
Hey, what's up?
Guess who's checking out over here?
Who you got?
It's Mark Whalen.
Mark Whalen? That's that kid who made the things you do, right?
Yeah, come get a look at him.
Guys, I don't know if this is really like necessary. I mean, I'm just trying to get a call.
Oh my god.
I know, they were right.
This kid's face is so smooth.
Yeah, how fucking old are you, dude?
People make music for a lot of different reasons. Some people like to tell like a personal story, and like they like to tell like their story, whether it be like their come up or like stuff that they've gone through.
Yeah.
Or some people like to make music for like the compositional side of things, and they just really like to make music, whether it be like instrumentals or whatever. And I don't know, I wouldn't say I make music to really tell a specific story. I really like to make music for just like the creation side of things. I really like the blend of instruments and what kind of sound you can get. Especially the past 4 years since I've been in school, I've been in like a really like production heavy side of things. So I find, like when I listen to music, I listen to it and I dissect it in a lot of ways, but I'm never like really turned on or off by like what they're talking about. Like to me, I'll really like a song will really grab my attention if it has like a really cool sound, or I'm like, whoa, like how did they get that drum sound?
Yeah.
Wow, like this sounds like the production is like really great, or like man, this string part, or like man, this vocal arrangement is great, or like this harmony really makes sense, and kind of stuff like that. I find super interesting, and I always try to, especially recently, been trying to incorporate that into my music, like trying to write something that is like really sounds really cool or really catchy, or like trying to get a certain sound out of a certain instrument that will really catch people's ears and stuff like that.
You're a man of the sound.
Exactly. Like, and there's nothing wrong with anyone. Like, that's the great thing about music is you can, you can create whatever you want for whatever reason, and people are allowed to listen to whatever they want for whatever reason they like.
So this is my last question. Very, very lighthearted question here, but who is Susan?
Do you want the?
I want that.
Real answer, or do you want the? Do you want the real answer, or do you want the right answer?
I mean, I think the real answer. Like, if I had to choose between those two, I want the real answer. Yeah.
You want the answer?
Yeah.
No one.
Oh.
No one.
Okay, who is the mythical Susan that was conjured up? Would this be the right answer? Would this be the other?
Depending on what you choose. So I'll tell the real story about how that song came about.
Okay.
I had written the melody and the chords, and I had the whole idea for it, and I sat on it for a really long time and never got around to like recording like an actual version of it. And I was in kind of like crunch time for the album, and you know, there was kind of a deadline coming up, and there was a lot of the album that I didn't record, and I was like, shit. And for me, you know, kind of like what we were just talking about, I'm not the best singer in the world, so I usually focus on like the instrumental first, and then I do the lyrics like very last thing, because I'm not a super strong singer. You know, some people, that's like, you know, they'll sit down with a guitar or like a piano and they'll just kind of like, you know, play and you know, they'll sing along right to it and they'll write it there, and then they'll add everything else later. But for me, because I'm not a super strong singer, I'll write, do all the instruments, and then do the vocals.
Okay.
And so I'd done the instrumental, and I just never got around to either writing lyrics or writing like a vocal part to it. And things were kind of in crunch mode, and I was like, shit, what am I gonna write about? I'm not super interesting of a person. Like, what is there? Like, what the fuck am I gonna write about? And you know, the vocal line, you know, kind of started coming to my head, like what I was, you know, the notes to sing. I was like, what the fuck am I writing about? And that, for some reason, that name just kind of popped in my head, and it kind of made sense. But it's really about nothing. The song's, it's vague and it's kind of shitty, and it's like, it's not really about anything. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. So that's the real answer. It's really about.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in and listening. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed, and I will be linking all of Mr. Mark Whalen's music below, all the songs used, all of his socials. Make sure to give him some follows and support him. He is going to be doing some awesome things coming up. Look out for his new project coming soon, and stay tuned for next episode on the Happen Twice podcast.